Baghdad, 1991. The sky is burning with anti-aircraft fire.
But they are shooting at ghosts. Radar sees nothing. Heat seekers see nothing.
To build this Phantom, engineers had to do the unthinkable. They had to build a plane that physics said could never fly. This is the F-117 Nighthawk, an aircraft born from a forgotten Soviet math paper and kept in the air by pure computer processing. How do you engineer a machine that defies both aerodynamics and the electromagnetic spectrum? Subscribe to Method and Myth as we deconstruct the geometry of ghosts. By the 1970s, Soviet radar and surface-to-air missiles had become terrifyingly lethal. In the Vietnam and Yom Kippur Wars, advanced American and Israeli fighter jets were being swatted out of the sky with brutal efficiency. Speed was no longer enough. Missiles were faster. To survive, a bomber had to be invisible. But radar is incredibly difficult to trick. As we discussed in episode 2, if you bounce a radio wave off a metal object, it reflects back to the source. Aerospace engineers at Lockheed's top-secret Skunk Works division were tasked with solving the impossible: reduce the radar cross-section, or RCS, of an airplane to the size of a bird.
The breakthrough didn't come from a wind tunnel. It came from a Soviet mathematician named Pyotr Ufimtsev. In 1962, Ufimtsev published a dense, highly technical paper on how electromagnetic waves reflect off two-dimensional flat surfaces.
The Soviet military completely ignored his work, believing it had no practical value. But a Lockheed engineer named Dennis Overholser found the translated paper. He realized Ufimtsev's math was the key to invisibility.
Overholser programmed a computer software called Echo to calculate the radar reflection of specific shapes. The computer told them the truth. To be invisible, the plane could not have a single curve. It had to be made entirely of flat, angled panels, facets. When the aerodynamicists saw the computer's design, they nearly had a heart attack. They called it the hopeless diamond. It was an aerodynamic disaster. It looked like a flying brick. But it worked. Here is the method. True stealth isn't about absorbing radar, it's about deflecting it. Imagine standing in a dark room holding a mirror while someone shines a flashlight at you. If the mirror is curved, some light will always bounce back to their eyes. But if the mirror is perfectly flat and you tilt it away, the light bounces into the ceiling or the floor. The person with the flashlight sees nothing. The F-117's flat facets caught incoming radar waves and deflected them harmlessly into space or down to the dirt. None of the energy returned to the enemy receiver. But solving the radar problem created a fatal engineering flaw. The hopeless diamond was so aerodynamically unstable, a human pilot physically could not react fast enough to keep it from tumbling out of the sky. The solution was the fly-by-wire computer system. The pilot's control stick was no longer mechanically connected to the wings. Instead, the stick sent electronic signals to a computer. The quadruple redundant computers read the pilot's input, analyzed the terrifying aerodynamics of the jet, and made thousands of micro-adjustments to the flaps every single second just to force the brick to fly straight. The pilot was just making suggestions. The computer was flying the plane. Defeating radar wasn't enough. Missiles also track heat. Jet engines produce a massive, glowing infrared signature. If you hide from radar but leave a trail of fire, you still die. Skunk Works engineers had to hide the exhaust. They buried the engines deep inside the fuselage. Instead of a round exhaust nozzle that concentrated the heat, they flattened the exhaust into wide, narrow slits at the back of the wing. They mixed the burning exhaust with freezing high-altitude air before it ever left the plane, and lined the exhaust vents with heat-absorbing ceramic tiles, the exact same technology used on the space shuttle. The infrared signature practically vanished. The F-117 Nighthawk was kept a total secret for nearly a decade. When it finally debuted in combat during the Gulf War, it devastated the most heavily defended airspace on Earth with absolute impunity. It flew over 1,200 combat sorties. Not a single one was shot down.
Today, advanced supercomputers allow stealth jets like the F-35 and F-22 to use smooth aerodynamic curves instead of jagged facets, while still maintaining their invisibility. But they all owe their existence to the flying brick.
A machine born from a math paper, enabled by microchips, that proved geometry is deadlier than armor.